So if we look at reliability from that risk angle, we'll come to see that reliability is a very, very important program that will all, not only maintenance, should be involved in deploying. Okay, so let us look at how it affects risk. First, we want to see what risk is, okay, as we are looking at reliability from that risk angle. So like we all know, risk is the product of the consequence of failure and the likelihood of that failure. So a failure that have low consequence and low likelihood, of course, that would mean that such a failure has a very low risk level. But a failure whose consequence is enormous and the likelihood is also high, of course, from what you can see on your screen, the risk level of such a failure will be very, very high. If the consequence is high, though the likelihood is low, but in the event that it happens, the consequence is high, of course, that is also a high level risk. So that likelihood, we will try as much as possible to take it to, that is to remove that likelihood as much as possible, okay, so that our risk, that is take it to zero even, if it is possible, so that our risk level will be very low, okay. So now that likelihood of that particular event occurring, as we all know, depends on the event and the condition, okay, surrounding such events. So what do we mean when we say event and condition? So the event may happen, but the condition is not favorable, so to say. So that risk may not occur. Let's take an example. Say maybe the risk that we are looking at is that of fire. We know the conditions that need to be met for fire to take place. That is, we must have oxygen, we must have the fuel and heat in the right proportion. Are we getting it? So those are the conditions that are needed for that event to actually happen. So the event now will be either something that will stoke up the heat, or if the heat and the fuel is there, something that maybe will concentrate the oxygen around that environment for the flame or the fire to happen. So if not, we will not have that particular fire, okay. So the chance and the condition, that is the event and the condition, which summarizes the likelihood, must be there, okay. So the condition, which is the opportunity to fail, and then the chance is the event, okay, that has to do with the probability of failure. So now we all know that reliability is somewhat related to the chance of success. A more reliable facility have a more likelihood of succeeding, okay. So if that is the case, so the chance of success, we could put it as 1 minus the chance of failure. Are we getting it? If the probability of success plus the probability of failure is 1, it therefore means that the probability of success is 1 minus the probability of failure, okay. So we can say reliability is 1 minus the chance of the plant failure. So let's now, okay, which means that the chance of failure, okay, is 1 minus reliability. So if we impute this for chance of plant failure into this very first equation, what we have is that the risk level of that particular asset is the consequence times the number of opportunities to fail, which is the condition now, and 1 minus the reliability, which is the event, okay, or the chance of plant failure. Are we getting it? So we see the direct relationship between the risk of plant failure or associated with the operations of the asset and reliability. So if you look critically, you'll see that if we strive to improve the reliability, to increase the reliability will tend towards unity, that is 1. If we can attain 1, it means that here, which is the chance of failure, will become 0. So if here becomes 0, everything on this equation will automatically turn 0 because of these multipliers. Are we getting it? So if it turns 0, it means that we have reduced or we have completely eliminated the risk associated with the operation of that particular asset. So though it is not possible to attain unity reliability, but it is possible to get something over 0.9, 90 something percent reliability. So if we can achieve 0.959697, you will agree with me that what will be left will be 0.0 something, okay, 0.05, 0.04. Are we getting it? So if here is 0.04, what do you think would have happened? Even if the consequences and the opportunities are high, what do you think will happen to the risk level? It would have been drastically reduced. So you see the importance of making our facility, our process, our assets reliable. So the more reliable our facility or our process or our asset is, the lesser the risk associated with the operations of that particular asset. So we want to take this at the back of our mind when we are looking at reliability programs. Okay, we want to look at the reliability program as something that will help to reduce the risk associated with our operations. Any kind of risk, be it safety risk, financial risk, that is revenue risk, whatever risk, a reliable plant will help you, or reliable operations will help you to reduce that drastically. Okay,